and welcome to the Midlanders Podcast. I'm Jodie Marie, and this is
Nick.
Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about our work-life experiences, and we put on our community post asking for your weirdest experiences that you've witnessed while at work, and we're going to be really looking forward to reading those out and reacting to them because we had some really good responses. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Nick, do you want to start?
Oh, God. All right, then. So, a customer urinated on the sales floor. He whipped it out and he did his thing. I was mortified.
What do you even do as a member of staff if that happened, though?
Have you ever worked in retail?
I have worked in retail, but I've never witnessed anything like that.
Yeah, so I've worked in retail and I've never seen that, but I don't know what I would do if I did.
No, me neither. Look, what? People have got no, there's no self-awareness there, obviously, is there?
Why?
They must have been on drugs or drunk or something, because that's not normal behaviour, is it?
I mean, if you were outside, okay, but why would you just sit there in the store and think, yeah?
My friend told me of an experience, though. She works in retail at the moment, and there was she often finds poo in the changing rooms. People will just have a poo in the changing rooms, yeah.
Do you know what? People are disgusting, aren't they?
Yeah, and it happens more than you realise, because when she was telling me about it, I was like, that's so weird. And she was like, no, but it's normal here. We get it all the time. It's happened on a few occasions. How mad is that? If anyone else has ever experienced that where they work, let us know in the comments.
I mean, imagine you're a customer and you go in there and there's a big crap on the floor. Excuse me, someone's shitting here.
So I've got here, at my first job as a laundryman at an old hotel in town, I mentioned to a female co-worker that I don't drink or do drugs. She held out a bottle and said she'd pay me for a urine sample for her boyfriend so her boyfriend could cheat on a drug test.
Oh my God.
The lengths you will go.
Did they do it?
Oh God. They didn't say.
Oh,
Did you do it? Did you do it?
I'd like to know that one.
Would you do it?
Would I?
If someone asked you, would you pee in there just to get them out of it?
Depends how much they're going to pay me.
Yeah, you'd want to pay them.
I wouldn't do it for free.
I'd have to know the consequences that I would get if they knew that it was me that cheated for them.
Well, that's a good point.
Do it.
Depends what it's for. And then if they find out it was you, or say me, we could get into trouble.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I'd think of that before I thought the money, to be honest.
Oh, there's me, the money.
No, I love
Needs
it.
must and all, I've got bills to pay.
Oh.
I've just come across my co-worker giving her boyfriend a certain type of lip service in the break room.
Oh God.
Can you imagine? I don't know about you, but I watch TV series and they often are not getting it on, in the staff room and all this cupboards and how?
I know, I often think that as well. I'm like, but you know what though, where I used to work, there used to be a lot of rumours like that, where people had done it in the disabled toilets and stuff, but obviously got the sack afterwards. So it must happen. They see it on TV and think, oh, I'm going to have a go at that, and then they get caught. And we saw someone kissing in a lift as well, because the lift opened and they looked all flustered and hair a mess, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh God.
Because I've just started watching The Good Doctor.
Yeah.
So many series of that, and I thought, I don't want to do it, and then we give it a go last night. And literally, the woman walked in, and there was this man in the bed, and I said straight away, I bet you was a woman in there, because he kept saying, turn the light off, turn the light off. And then literally, she walked out, and the woman she was talking about, that she was having a thing with, how do you just get away with it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I could never. Have you ever done anything naughty like that at work?
No, actually, no. To be honest, I don't think I'd have the balls to.
Yeah, same.
You know, I know some people do, but the thought of it just makes me like, knowing my luck, somebody'd walk in and I'd be like, sacked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know someone else that did it actually. I had a friend that also did crazy things at work with one of the chefs.
Oh, did she get free
she's
meals?
I don't know what she was getting. Yeah. So I was working, this one's a funny one as well. I was working overnight at Amazon loading trucks, and we used to get paired up to work in trucks. This guy got paired with a lady he grew up to fancy, and she was standing on a ladder. He yelled, "I can't take it anymore," and bit her bottom. Needless to say, he was immediately fired, so that was for sure one of the weirdest, craziest things I've seen at work. Imagine witnessing that. It would be very funny, but then also traumatising for her. I couldn't imagine if someone just bit my bum.
So let me just clarify this. So who was on the ladder?
The lady was on the ladder.
It's just another co-worker?
Yeah, just the co-worker, and then he fancied her, so he bit her bum.
And somebody was watching that?
The person that wrote that
was the one on the ladder?
Yeah.
Right.
I was the one watching.
Oh, watching. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It'd be a bit like, what the hell? Did them two get together?
I don't know. I doubt it, because he got fired, so she must have told on him. Because if it was like playful, then she wouldn't have told, would she? Because she'd be like, "Oh, I want more of that."
I mean, to be honest with you, though, that's invading space, isn't it? That harassment, really, innit?
Yeah, but the lengths people will go to get a bit of ass in the mouth.
God, I've never had me bum bitten like that at work, anyway.
No, me neither. Oh God, that's hilarious though.
So going back to the toileting thing, so somebody put a customer crapping in the customer toilet sink.
No.
Why?
I don't understand. Why do people do these things? One, what if someone walked in and you got caught doing it though?
Would you just sit there and like, hi?
To be honest though, I think it must be like people that are foreign and not used to using toilets in this country, because there is some notices in some places where they tell you like how to sit on the toilet. They've got a list of ways to sit on the toilet, because in certain places they use the toilet differently and they stand on the seat rather than sit on it, and then the poo goes everywhere. Because I know there was like some signs saying that don't stand on the seat, you use the toilet like this. So I'm thinking they see the sinks and think that's where you go, rather than actually looking into the toilets.
I mean, I
think it might be an education thing.
I don't know where it was. I've got France in my head, but I don't think it's France. There was a cubicle somewhere that you went in, and it was basically just a hole in the floor, and that's where these people would go to the toilet. You just had to hover over this hole. I can't remember where it was. I mean, because you had to even put some money in to even go and use the toilet, and you walk in there and it's just this big hole, and you're just like, fuck do I do with that?
Oh God. Yeah, so it must be that they just don't know how to use the loos and think that the sink's the toilet.
But I mean, surely if you're living over here or if you've been on holiday, surely you'd know where people use the toilet. I mean, what do they think the toilet is? To wash your hands?
Some people it's they've come from immigrant, they're like illegal immigrants, so they wouldn't know, would they? They'd just see that and presume that's where the toilet is. I don't know. I really don't know.
Maybe they think they use it as a toilet and then turn the tap on like a bidet.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I was thinking that as well. Maybe like they think that's how you wash your bottom, with the tap, when that's just how we wash our hands. Do you know what?
If I walked in on somebody like that, I don't know what I'd do. What would you do?
I'd be like, you're not supposed to use it like that.
Do you know what? I feel like I would be embarrassed for them.
Yeah, same.
I was just like...
But I feel like I would have to tell them the rules in case they don't know. But then, what if they do perfectly know and they're just like, fuck off?
Yeah. Or what happens if they're doing it to get a reaction? Or it's like a kink for them?
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, no. I don't know, though. I think I'd like to think I would try to explain. But then when someone's sitting there on the toilet shitting, I'd probably walk out. Because I just don't know if I could face it.
Would you walk out and just think, yep, I'm just going to the cubicle, minding my own?
Yeah, God.
I don't know
and
what I'd do.
I think I would have to tell a member of staff as well, because I'd feel bad not, and then them just going to see that. I have to warn them to say, like, when you go in there, you're going to find a mess in the sink. Just letting you know.
I think I would definitely
I think I'd have to.
I would. I'd just say, like, excuse me, just this is a bit random.
Don't go in yet.
There's
like,
somebody...
I would just...
to
save embarrassment on it. Yeah.
Imagine if you're that member of staff.
I know. Oh. God, what staff have to put up with?
Christ.
There was a co-worker that was a bit of a menace. I've seen him drop an uncooked bagel off of a counter, watched it roll into the corner of the kitchen underneath another counter. He reached it out with his foot, rubbed it on his shirt and threw it in the oven. And that was a supervisor.
Oh.
These stories blow my mind, because I think, like, we buy from these places, and if supervisors can do that, like, most of our food is probably contaminated so much. It does worry me, because, like, it makes me, like, think I should be cooking more at home for sure. Like, why am I eating out? Like, why am I paying extortionate prices at the moment? And then anyone could do anything to my food.
I mean, if I'm honest with you, me being a bit, like, with my OCD kind of things,
Yeah.
a lot of it is to do with germs and, like, stuff like that. And sometimes if I'm really in the thick of, like, an episode of it, I start thinking, who's touched that? What person's touched that before that person? Who's done that? And it literally, I'll go around like that. And that makes me think of, like what you've just said, reality, some weird shit does go on. So then it's probably normal to sit there and think, who's touched that, or what that person's done with me piece of bread.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh. Let's have a bit of a lighter one here.
Okay.
The police turning up for me to give a statement I'd already given 3 times.
Oh, that's so annoying. Oh.
Like, soz mate, I've already given it you 2
Statement
times.
for what, though? What did... it might be like theft or something in store, something like that. But yeah, it is annoying when you have to do that, though. When you give something more than once, it's just like... Twice, yeah, okay, but third time, like, you're taking the mick now.
I mean, depends though. Is it like, was it like they'd never interviewed before, or
And maybe, yeah.
was it literally just going in to do the same thing over and over again? Do you know what I mean? Or
actually, was it serious? Or was it really serious, and they have to make sure that your statement matches every time? Because if it changes, they tend to do that, don't they, in case it changes, and then they'll question you more about, because then they'll figure out lies.
Yeah, you do see that, don't you, as well, real life and in shows, that they tend to ask you the same questions to try and catch you out. So, mate, yeah.
Right. I worked at Walmart. A woman bought 1 million items and 1 small can of cat food. We finished the transaction, she paid for it, and then she said, wait, didn't get to use my coupon. Then dug out a purse, placed it on the counter, and it was like 10 cents off a can of cat food, and it's expired in 6 months. So they told her that we can't do it here, but if you go to customer services, they'll sort it out there for you. So she waited 45 minutes in a line for 10 cents. And then, obviously, all the frozen food by then would have been melted anyway.
Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm all for saving money and all, but that's a bit extreme. I would just like, use it next time.
Yeah. It's yeah, I think that is a bit extreme because I'm thinking if you've got a few, yeah, but for 10 cents and then all that shopping, it's just like get home, you've got 6 months to use it again. And I know it's one of them things where if you don't use it in the moment, you probably never will, but it's 10 cents.
But I'm sure she's going to go in that shop again and buy some cat food again.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. Like, so you're going to be able to use it again. But the chance is, if she's letting everything defrost, that's worse than you just using it next time. But that reminds me of, have you ever watched any shows called Extreme Couponing?
Yes, I have heard of it. I think I watched one.
Oh man.
Where they collect all the coupons for like different things, and some of them don't even work, do they?
No, but these are I haven't seen any for a while now, but these are all based in America. So in America, their kind of system is just, you would never get that here. It's like you can use like 50 like coupons in one transaction, and people have gone through and end up like sometimes with money back, or literally just paying like $1 or something like that, because they're allowed to do that. Whereas here, normally it's like one thing and that's it. And they come out with trolleys full of stuff, and you watch them all. Like they've got these folders and all their coupons in it and everything, and they're working it all out and then ready for their trip down there. I mean, I think fair play to them and all. I wish that we could do that here, but it's been hard work.
Some of ours, with the terms and conditions, it says it can't be used in conjunction with. So you can't use it with different vouchers. You can use one and that's it. I think Tesco allow you to use a few, but that's only Tesco's coupons.
Yes, that's right, yeah. But whereas there, no matter what, can use whatever. So
wild.
I worked at Walgreens and a woman came in with her pants down, fully commando, yelling for us to call an ambulance because she pooped her pants. She was corralled outside where she took off her pants completely and sat half naked, crisscross, apple sauce on the ground in front of the store until the ambulance got there.
Wow.
Do you know what? Reading these, I've got no hope for humanity, you know. Bloody hell.
No. I mean, I think if I shit myself, the last thing I would do is take my clothes off.
And draw attention to it.
Yeah, I wouldn't, if I needed to call I don't know if I'd call an ambulance just for shitting myself either. I'd probably go home, then,
I mean, if you're going to shit yourself, you've either needed the toilet for a long time and just can't do it, or you're ill or something.
Yeah.
But I would not be going into a store going, ambulance, I've done
and taking your pants off. Yeah, I'd rather keep my trousers on until I get home.
But I wouldn't even sit there going, I need an ambulance, would you? If you were pouring blood from the back, okay.
Yeah.
But like, some people.
So this one's from Evoke ASMR. I thought I'd mention her because obviously she's an ASMR artist, and me and Nick are ASMR artists as well.
And she's quite local to us, isn't she?
Yeah. So I once witnessed a colleague get a small bullet vibrator out of her bag and use it while sat at her desk. Seriously, I couldn't believe my eyes.
Oh my god, you were joking.
Yeah. What do you do for work, Evoke? Like, what else? Do you know what she does?
No, I don't know.
You'll have to let us know what you do. It must be an office or something. But I think you read about this in women's magazines, though, don't you? Like, where women have often admitted that they'll use vibrators at work if you work in an office.
I know,
in the desk. It's quite well, not a normal thing, but people have admitted it in women's magazines. I've read them quite a few times.
Oh, it depends on the office and how cornered off your desk is. But like, why do they just, for a start, they're meant to be working? But besides from that, wouldn't you just go somewhere else, like in the toilet? Like, why at the desk?
It must be like a thing. I don't know.
I mean, realistically, how would you enjoy that? Can you imagine?
Well, my response was, well, she must have had a good day. Because, like, to start your day off like that, you just relaxed while working. So, I mean...
The They've either been
I can
very
kind
discreet.
of see the appeal, but I would be embarrassed. I don't think I could ever do it, but I can see the appeal.
Me personally, I don't see the appeal because I wouldn't be comfortable.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So
I think in a fantasy world, it's hot, but in a real world, I don't think I could cope, because I would be thoroughly embarrassed if anyone had seen me. I would, and obviously she did get seen.
And if you don't think you've been seen, but you have, and somebody's got their camera out and stick it on social, you don't know, do you? Like,
nah. Well, that's bad for them, though, the people that put that on social media. Yeah, that's wrong.
They shouldn't be doing that, 100%.
No,
but some weirdos would do that.
Yeah.
That's crossing a line, but then you will get some people go, shouldn't have been doing it in public then.
Yeah, that is crossing a line also. You're at a workplace.
But then it still doesn't give somebody the right to do that. But besides,
2 wrongs don't make a right.
100%, Jode. But like, I don't know about that. But I've seen things like that in shows when people have said stuff.
Yeah.
And just like...
That's what I mean. These are like things that would happen in a movie.
It is, isn't it? But the fact that these things happen, I'm just like...
Yeah, they do.
Oh, God, if I was at work, I'd be bloody stressed, to be honest, thinking about that.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Well, maybe it just helps the stress.
God. Funny. God, what is with these people pooing themselves? One night, an older gentleman came into our store and he defecated, I can't say that word, in his overalls and proceeded to let it fall out of his pant leg onto the floor. He said nothing and just left. He hasn't been back since.
Oh, God.
I mean, okay, he's an older man.
I'd be mortified if that ever happened to me.
He's an older man, yeah. I'm guessing quite old. Something, it could happen. And he must have felt so embarrassed. And you probably wouldn't go back, would you? But, oh, God.
But if I felt it, I would run. I'd be like, oh, I've got to go. Not just stand there and let it fall out my trousers.
Or if it started to happen, you would go, wouldn't you?
Yeah. You'd be like, okay, I feel it, I've got to go. Like, I would rush off and just say, look, I feel ill, I've got to go.
I mean, unless he was incontinent. And it just happened.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, did door-to-door sales in the Bronx, so I saw a lot of wild stuff. Parked my car near the building where I started knocking my route. Where I start my knocking route. Some dude walks past with a duffel bag. He proceeds to stop, throw the bag on the ground, begins pissing all over it and all over himself. He proceeds to grab some fruit from the bag, takes a bite of the fruit and returns on his walk.
What the fuck? What?
Why would you want to eat an apple that you just pissed on?
I mean, Bear Grylls is all for like drinking your own pee if you're stuck in the wild and stuff and to keep you going and all, but that seems a little bit like he had a...
Why would you piss on your own bag? Like, why not just piss on the floor next to you if you're that desperate? I don't understand why you'd piss on your own property.
And I'm guessing he picked the bag up and went again.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Well...
I think so, yeah.
Maybe he had some kind of weird fetish.
Yeah, I can't explain that. I don't know.
No. I'd like to, this person, whoever you are, I'd like to hear some more of these things that you've got. If you've seen a lot of stuff, let us know. Oh. Right, so one of them was when my boss had an argument with a customer and my boss was so pissed that he ended up spitting in the customer's French fries and he served it her.
No.
That's what worries me.
Yeah, I hate that. Oh, God. Oh, no.
The thought of it. I mean, come on, man. That's out of order, innit?
Yeah.
That's a manager as well. What kind of example's that setting? I mean, there's me being serious now. But,
yeah, I don't like things like that because it gives me a weird feeling because I enjoy eating out, but then when I hear these stories, it makes me feel like, oh, yeah. Because I don't know what people are doing.
And then it makes you look at it and think, well, actually, have I just ate? Oh, no,
Yeah.
that's put me off. Takeaways and, oh, no. Oh, God, some of these.
Okay, so had a holiday job as an assistant lifeguard at a council swimming pool. Customers would relieve themselves in the pool rather than use the toilet. I've heard about this a lot. People wee in the pool rather than just getting out to the toilet. It's literally right outside. It's not that far, but they do. And I mean, and I mean number twos. So people would poo themselves in a pool. I don't know where you are. I've never experienced that, thankfully. And this would happen about twice a day.
Really?
Oh, God. As the newbie, it was my job to catch it in a net and dispose of it.
Typical that.
The supervisor would make us practice before opening by throwing a lion bar into the pool. The weirdest bit, she would then eat the lion bar after.
Oh, you're kidding me.
I've never eaten one since. You know what, though? Now I feel very grateful for the swimming pool that I used to go to, because if they see any foreign objects in the pool, they empty the whole pool and clean it.
Yeah.
I've never known anyone fish something out and not clean the pool properly.
No, I haven't either.
That's quite bad.
Yeah, because the one over here, things have happened like with kids and stuff, because that can happen. They've shut the pool down and everything. You can't.
Yeah, they
use
do
it.
for like hours. Yeah, they do that here as well. So I'm really surprised to hear that. And I would never eat I mean, she said it was cleaner because it had obviously been put in the chlorine, but I was like, it's not at all, because you have to clean it out. The chlorine can only do so much.
Yeah. Obviously.
Wouldn't clean a pool.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's disgusting. No
Clean all
wonder.
the bacteria.
But no wonder people get ill from like sometimes swimming and stuff when you got all that kind of going on, and then people aren't cleaning it. But the fact that she ate that as well, that's just mind-boggling.
It makes me sick.
It does. I mean, okay, fair enough. If people are going to pee in the pool, okay, it's just minging. But if they do, fair enough. But the fact that somebody wants to go and have a shit in it.
What is with this shit?
I know, man. It's just ridiculous. Talking about that, I've got another one here. Man came in and used our washroom for about half an hour. When he finally emerged, I was sent in to see if there's any damage done. This man shit in his underwear, crumpled it into a ball in the corner, then literally painted the walls and the door of the stall top to bottom with his shit. Manager tried to get me to clean it. I was 15 at the time, making minimum wage. I think fuck not.
Yeah, I would refuse as well.
How rude! Like, oh yeah, do it because you're 15.
No, you know what though? There was someone where I used to work it was staff as well, because there were staff toilets. And the general public weren't allowed in really. There was one person or a few, I don't know, that used to like leave shit on the floor and stuff, and like around the toilet seat, like they'd messed around with it and it was on the walls and stuff, and I'd be like, who is this person? Because if they're leaving the toilet like that, what are they leaving their like desk like? Because obviously you move around and stuff as well. Your desk's not your desk.
Like,
so it was pretty gross.
Do you know what though? Yeah. If I worked
and it's obviously a woman, because they weren't like joint toilets. They were female and male toilets. So it's obviously a woman that left it like that.
I would have, if that was me working there, I would have said, right, who is this? Who's this scum doing this? You would, wouldn't you? Especially if it's a staff toilet, you'd be I personally, as a boss, would be saying, "This is disgusting. Who is this?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whether I'm a boss or not, that's just disgusting, isn't it? Like, okay, fair enough, if you manage to shit in your clothes, you chuck it in a ball and just leave it, okay, whatever. But why did he feel the need to get it all and put it everywhere?
No.
Oh, I just can't.
It's just wrong. Someone said co-workers having sex in a car, but that's not that weird though.
No, it's not weird.
And I said sex in the car isn't weird, but it is weird when you have to witness it. If you witness it, then you are going to feel a bit weird.
Unless you're one of the doggers. near where I used to live. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, where people watch other people having sex. It's weird.
Because where I used to live, where I'm from, there's a place called Cannock Chase. There's quite a lot of stories about things at Cannock Chase. Probably some things documented actually, which we could maybe mention in a future episode of True Crime. So that'll be interesting. But this place, anyway, it was known for a hot spot of dogging. And apparently there was a guy, Dan Collymore, is he a footballer or something? He got caught dogging up there or something like that.
Oh, God.
So it's a big thing. Like, but I used to drive around all the time with like my mates, and we used to hang out at Cannock Chase like all the time. Like, you know, before I was driving, and then when I could drive and stuff, just used to be our local like hangout. And sometimes, right, it would get dark, and you'd literally get the cars come up like this really slow, and it would be like a man on its own, and he'd park next to you and go like this. Like we're watching him. And the once, right, it was weird, it was me and like a boyfriend, we just sat there, and some car pulled up, and I was like, fucking hell, feels weird. And this guy, he was like this on the window, like looking like this. He was going and trying the door handles. I was like, fucking hell, let's get out of it. Do you know what I mean? To be honest with you, right, I've experienced so much stuff over Cannock Chase, right? Some weird alien style shit, I'm talking. Ghost type shit. I'll tell you now, that would make a good episode, Joe. Some of the stuff.
Someone has mentioned that we should do maybe a supernatural thing. So if you have got stories about that, then we could probably talk about our stories on that.
Definitely. That's got to be a future episode, Jode. We can ask that question.
Yeah, so leading on to that then, this was what someone said, the weirdest thing that they saw at work. She watched someone disappear into the elevator. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, but my friend was like, no, I saw him too. And when we both described to each other who we saw, it was the same person. And then, she said that might be for another podcast, maybe do a supernatural one. So,
I mean, that is a weird thing to see at work,
yeah.
Isn't it? So that person just went in there and vanished?
Apparently so.
I'd be like, going to me thing, can I look at the cameras? I want to see who that person was. Oh my god.
Okay, so that's it from me. That I've done all mine now. I don't know whether you've got any more.
Let me just double check. This one person says she's had a lot of weird stuff happen, you know, sexual, racist rants, etc. That's quite common, isn't it, to get, unfortunately. But the one time she had to shut the store down because of a blackout. But as employees, we were still hanging out in the building. A guy walked up into our completely dark store and tried to force the door open. We told him we were closed, and he pointed at the hours of operation and said we were supposed to be open. He wouldn't take no for an answer. Now that reminds me of a time where another place near where I used to live, there was, the store had gone down a bit. I think it might have been during COVID, actually, you know. I don't know. So the doors were closed, and he kept trying to push the door, and he was moaning, saying like, open, it's open. And because you were standing in there, but they'd shut it for a reason, I can't remember what now, but he kept trying to open the door and everything to get in, and he was adamant that he should be in there because it's open. And when I've worked in retail before, I've had similar experiences where people are there like banging on the door trying to get in, and we're like, no, we're shut. And they're like, but you're still in here. But actually no, we'd shut because it had passed the time. So I think that must be some kind of common thing, to be honest.
Yeah, because where I worked, they used to come in last minute. Literally, there'd be a minute on the clock, and people would walk in knowing that it closed at that time. So I do feel sorry for the later staff that have to like wait for everyone to leave after that time, because then you don't get paid for that Like,
Yeah.
when your shift's ended at that time of
Yeah.
night, it's ended.
Yeah.
So, unless you're 15 minutes over, some companies don't pay you that extra 15 minutes.
Yeah, so
So-
me, when I worked in the retail, I used to do a lot of finish shifts. So like I did late night shift and I did like Sunday afternoon finish. And it was a pain in the arse because you'd start saying, please make your way to the checkout, blah, blah, blah. And you had to keep going round, and sometimes you'd be seeing people just dawdling like they've got the time in the world, and sometimes I've had to go up to people and say, look, just let you know the store's closed now, please make your way to there. And they look at you like do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm thinking the store's actually shut now, and it's right, I didn't get paid for any extra that we had to wait. They stopped letting people in, and then sometimes I think we spoke about it to like managers and that, and then they turned around and said, well, the store's shut at 5, but if people are still in it, you just have to work it until they've gone.
Yeah.
It's a bit shitty really, isn't it? Because you should turn around and say, well, sorry, my shift's done.
Yeah. Mad, isn't he?
Hang on, I think I might have another one here. I just saw a woman cut her head off. Hang on. Right. A woman and her mother said they will cut my head off if I don't tell them where in the parking lot they parked their car. I worked at the information point in a shopping centre, and they told them the parking lot doesn't belong to us and I can't see or check anything, but they kept insulting me. The woman also had a 7-year-old daughter next to them and her mom, and she was crying, and the security had to come and take them away from me, and she was fighting them to come back to me and screaming at me. It was so scary, also because I was never rude or anything. I just told her I can't help her with that because I don't do anything or have any seeing or whatever in the parking lot, and I also can't check her card or so. They completely were freaking out, ignoring me, telling them it doesn't belong to us or something.
Yes, I hate people that overreact like that. Like, but saying things like that, I'm gonna cut your head off. Like,
that's a bit extreme.
that's psychopathic behaviour. Like, stop.
And what I don't understand with that, like, get a grip. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you've parked your car, it's got nothing to do with anybody else but yourself.
Yeah.
You can't say to someone, tell me where my car is. That's just like, what the hell? Somebody walked in a shop once with 2 snakes.
Oh.
And he wanted to take it to the calf. He pleaded that it was his wife's birthday and he just wanted a slice of cheesecake.
There was a person at my friend's work that went into, just casually walked into the staff area, stole money out of my friend's bag, and then walked casually out. They found out who he was on camera. They told the police. They took him, but she still hasn't had that money back. The police have got it in their evidence.
Oh, right.
So they might never get that back.
No. It's out of order, isn't it?
Because it's cash, she's got no proof that the transaction happened.
Yeah.
But I think if she got a bank statement, surely, but apparently not. So yeah, that person stole, and then they both lost out, which is mad. But it's mad what people will do. They've got so much bottle to just walk in somewhere. Yeah. It's crazy.
It is. Oh, but the funny thing is about this person, he said he got the cheesecake, snakes in one hand, cheesecake in the other, and then he fell down 3 steps that led out the calf. Cheesecake went flying, covering the entire bookcase, and he broke his ankle. Snakes nowhere to be found.
Oh God. Oh.
And then she said I had to stay to work over 2 hours after close to help his family members find the snakes. Needless to say, I quit a week later, and the snakes were recovered in good shape.
Oh yeah, good. Oh. People do these things to show off and not really think of the animals involved.
Yeah,
because I know people have got a fear of snakes and stuff, but like, they'll just mind their own business if you just mind yours.
Yeah.
You know.
Last one. I've got is basically once had to give first aid to a guy who somehow managed to get a splinter going directly through his palm, like an acupuncture needle. His wife fainted.
Oh.
God. Whew. That was eventful, wasn't it, Jode?
It was very good. I loved them.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely loved them. It's brought back some memories for me as well. It did.
Yeah, it has actually brought me back to my retail days. Do you know what I mean? With all the,
Yeah. Okay, so now we'll move on to our work experiences, what you've done previously. And then you can tell us some stories about your workplaces if you like.
So go on then. You start.
Okay, so my first ever job, I worked in a golf club, doing like mainly dishing out the food and also cleaning up afterwards. It's mad though, because I was like 15, maybe 16, just gone 16, and the amount you got paid, I got paid $3.75 back then for every hour. And some days I would work like really late nights and like finish at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was like 15, 16. That's crazy to me now. I think back.
Yeah,
it gave me like really good experience, but also I think to myself it was quite late for a young girl to be out.
Yeah, it is a bit. We didn't think about stuff back then.
Nah, my parents allowed it and all though. That's what I don't understand. Just wanted me to make some money, man. Yeah. So yeah, that was my first experience. I didn't really have any wild experiences from there because I only did like a few hours here and there, maybe 4 hours on a night or 2 hours, 3 hours here and there. But yeah, that was my first ever job. And then I worked in a shoe shop that got closed down. Oh God, I remember that day still. It was traumatic. So they didn't tell me the store was closing down. I turned up to work and the whole store was closed.
Really?
Yeah, and I'd worked there about a year. I was absolutely gutted.
Did they go bust or something?
Yeah, but then like we kind of knew it was going bust, but they never said when it was finally closing. They never told me at all, never contacted me, nothing. Then a year later I got like a letter, and they give me a cheque of like £75 for my redundancy money. Like,
better than nothing, I suppose.
Yeah, but it took a year for them to finally get in touch with me. I was bawling outside the shop, absolutely gutted I was.
Aww.
Yeah. How about you? What was your first job?
My job history. I'm one of these that I'm not very good at sticking with a job or anything really. A lot of it was with my mental health and things. I haven't really stuck at a lot. But I first got...
I think that's good to talk about though, because I think there's a lot of people that are like that. Normally I change my jobs every 3 years.
I mean, it was more of a case of I didn't start work until I was about 18. Oh no, it might have been 17, I don't know. I tried, I always remember it was about 2004 and I just split up with one of my boyfriends. It was just disastrous. Then I got this job and it was in a kitchen shop. So it was selling literally like saucepans, everything, really expensive stuff. And I remember starting then, I worked my butt off, right? Made a couple of friends with a couple of the girls. One of them we ended up becoming quite best friends. The other one was a bit of a and it was always a bit like a competition with her, with that friend and me. It was just stupid, like I'd be always like, well, I want to be involved, but the other girl didn't. And then the weird thing was this, I found out that my ex was actually dating this other girl's best friend.
Oh no!
So we'd just split up, and I started working there. And I remember, like on my lunch, I was casually talking to my ex, and I was a bit like, I want to get back together. And I thought it was just like some kind of break. It wasn't, obviously. And he was always like, oh, I don't know yet, blah blah blah. And then it was just weird because I was out one night, and then the girl who was my friend, like, she said, oh yeah, I found out that such and such is going out with such and such his best friend. And I went, you fucking joking me? Oh, it was a nightmare.
Oh no.
I couldn't start that job then because I thought she was a bit of a bitch anyway. And then the job, I like worked my arse off and I was literally standing up. But if at one point I stood still, the boss would come over, come on.
Yeah.
And I thought, you want me to circle the shop continuously? What do you want me to do exactly? Do you know what I mean? I hated it. Must have only been there about 4 weeks and I quit. So that was my first job. Then my second job, I actually got when I started college. So my 50th college course I started, literally. I was about 19, and I think about the year before I applied for this job in a shop. At the time it was actually called Summerfield. It's now the Co-op.
Yeah.
So I worked there, and I applied a year before, and I didn't hear anything or anything. Literally a year later, I remember I was in the bath, and my mum come up and she goes, "Phone here, it's like Summerfield or summer." So I answered it, and they asked give me an interview, and I thought I applied for that like a year ago. Got the job, and I did like a Tuesday evening to start with, and then like a Sunday all day. And I actually did work there for a couple of years actually, because I was at college at the same time, and this was the first college course I actually stuck at. I managed 2 years there, and I did the same obviously at this job. To be honest with you, bloody hell, shop work, I tell you, is like the people that I see working in a shop now, I kind of sympathise with them, because I know how bloody hard it is, especially when you got to stand up like all the time. Like when I worked, I was behind the kiosk, so with the fags and everything, and obviously I was always standing up, and then it was always one of those things, the dreaded ID check. I hated it. People come in, I'm thinking, if you don't look, because obviously back then you just had to look like 18, basically. But you have to ask people for ID if you wasn't sure, because I could get into trouble and whatnot. And sometimes I'd be like, I asked one person once, and they went, "Are you joking?" Just went, "I'll just take it as a compliment." Like, you know what I mean? And they were all right about it, but they're a bit funny. And then other times they'd give me their ID, and I'd be like, "Fuck. How do I work out how old you are?"
I used to be like that as well. And because you're thinking about it, it's like your brain just blocks up. So you're like, I can't even calculate it now because I'm thinking about it too much. And then they're looking at me.
Yeah.
And one time, I think one person could see me sweating, and they said to me, "So how old am I then?" And I was like, "No, you."
That did on purpose, didn't they?
Arsehole. And I was just like, old enough. And I think I did spend, like, while I was doing something else, I think I spent the time working it out. And I was like, just before he went, I said how old he was. But I just, because once you start getting scared, it's hard to concentrate. Your brain just freezes.
Do you know what?
I'll get that anyway.
If I'm really honest with you, Jode, if they give me their ID, they were old enough. So I just went, yeah, thanks. Seriously, I did. Because I couldn't work it, because I'm terrible at maths, and I couldn't work it out for the life of me. The queue was stacking up, so I'd be like, "Yep, you've given it me, that's great." Like this. And then the worst was when, like, young lads come in, and they were, like, trying to buy beer and fags. I'm like, "Fucking hell, I'm not asking you for ID."
Yeah.
You know, it's so embarrassing. And I hated it as well, because this guy that I'd said who I'd split up with, he'd always like come in the shop, and he'd do it on purpose because he knew I worked there, and he'd be always sitting outside in his car and stuff to wind me up, and I'd be just like, why are you so bothered about coming to see me but you won't be with me? It just baffled me. And then I was like, you're just so like winding me up. Do you
just
know what
wanted
I mean?
to keep you interested.
And then at one point, I'm waffling on a bit about this shop. There was a guy that started there, right, and he was actually a supervisor. Okay. Me being me, back then I was a little bit like man hungry. Do you know what I mean? All the time. I was just, bit of a player back then. And I'm not now sensible. Anyway, so I like this guy. I don't know why. And then somehow, I don't know how we started talking or something like that, but then we ended up like dating each other. And obviously I was dating for a little bit, and then that's when I met my husband. And I remember like my husband and our friend thought he looked like an old man, right, which I don't know why. And obviously back then, like, my husband, like, was sort of like wanting to get with me and stuff. We were just friends because obviously I was with this guy, and I didn't really. I just felt like if I got with him, it was going to be like a permanent thing, and I didn't want to settle down. That's literally what I felt like. It was so weird. So I was dating him for a little bit, and then I remember the one day, I don't know what happened. We'd ended up having an argument. He was obsessed with his ex or something like this, and I didn't want him anymore. And then literally, I couldn't go back to work because he was my supervisor. And it was so fucking awkward. So I was like, shit. So I wrote my resignation, give it my husband and our friend. They took it into work. Go, there's Nic's resignation. And I didn't walk back in. I should have done. I should have done some time, like, but I didn't. Go back in.
Didn't you?
And then I found out a while later that he actually got sacked because he was pinching food. He was actually robbing from them. And then I found out he was also robbing from this other shop that he worked at before.
No way. There was a similar experience when I worked in my next retail job. There was a few people that got the sack for robbing food on their break. They would just rob it and then say, they forgot to pay for it, but obviously.
So where did you work then after your second job?
In a superstore, in like a big store. So where you had like clothing, tech, so TVs, mobiles, things like that, and then like also your massive food.
So a bit like Tesco and Asda and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I worked there for a bit. To be fair though, I really enjoyed retail. I thought it was a laugh. The people are funny, and it's a bit of a DOS,
Yeah.
Although, I mean, it's also hard work as well, but it is a bit of a DOS. Because, I mean, I was a weekend staff as well. Week staff hated us and all.
Weekends were a DOS, weren't they?
Yeah, they were a bit. Like, my Saturdays I used to do 1 till 10. And Sundays, I think they put me on a shift like 11 till 7 or something. It was absolutely shit. But I did it anyway. But, like, the store would close at 4, so I had 3 hours of just on my own. And then, like, I had an hour on my own, because they'd leave at, like, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, the 3 girls that I used to work with. So then I'd be on my own for an hour. Most of the time on a Sunday, though, we'd get the work done as quick as we could, and then we'd just DOS in the warehouse.
Yeah, I mean, with me, with that job, Sundays, it was terrible, because I'd often come in drunk. Like,
same. I was about to say that. I was always hanging. I think one of the times I was literally not on the floor an hour, because I would just every 20 minutes I'd be being sick, and one of the supervisors actually looked after me. He was like, keep this water here and just keep sipping it, and then leave when you have to. He did look after me. Like, I have met some really good people in retail as well. Like, I'm friends with a few. I'm friends with one, and we had drama to start with, because we both like the same lad. And I didn't know her at first, so like neither of us knew each other, so we didn't really owe each other anything. We both liked him, and we was both like seeing him, sort of thing.
Oh, Joes.
Yeah. It was awkward. But then later on, we became really good friends, and like obviously none of us talked to him anymore. But like, yeah, we became really close after that.
It's like, I remember you had your shit staff on, and then you was your good staff. It's like one of them, I remember him. I'm not going to mention his name, but I loved him. I loved working with him. He was just a funny guy over, and I think he still works there actually.
Yeah.
But when I used to come in hungover, I was lucky enough really that I was never really sick. It was only a couple of times when literally I'd had too much sambucas. But I'd go in and I was always like, knackered, because I'd always have vodka Red Bull, so I was always like hypo depressed.
Yeah.
It was like doing this with me. I couldn't sleep. I had to go in. I thought, fucking hell, I don't want to go in, and I was stood up all day, and we just like, oh my god, and it was a nightmare on a Sunday, I tell you. And I was just like, and then
I don't miss those days.
There was a couple of guys there. This one guy, I had a right crush on this one guy, and it was so annoying because it got to a point when I'd be going in, make sure I look good, and then the one night we were off out and we all went actually drinking. I stayed at his house, but he still had this thing with kind of some other girl, and it was just dead weird. And then he buggered off to uni and stuff like that. So, but I always remember it was good days because a lot of the time we'd hang out in the back in the warehouse, stocking the freezers up and like filling the shelves. And then it was like, I used to like being on the shop floor, walking around. And to be honest with you, I've got so anxious working on the till.
Yeah.
Just like, I didn't want to do it at all, but... Yeah.
See, I don't mind the till work. I always thought it was easy. I'm just sitting there scanning it through. I wasn't that bothered about the till work. I think the worst part for me was when I had to do because I was shy, like much more shy when I was younger. I hadn't really come out of my shell when I was working at Tesco. And because I worked on 3 departments. I did the tech first, I moved to clothing, and then I did the labels, you know, where you scan the labels and change the labels for the prices. And they asked me to do the tannoy, where you have to talk over. Oh, it was an absolute nightmare. I could never do it, and I would always refuse to do it. And then that's why I got kicked off that department, because they was like, well, you need to do the tannoy, you're not doing it, so you're going to be moved over to clothing. I was like, thank God, because I hated that.
Yeah, I had to do it a few times.
I don't mind tills.
But a Tesco are huge, aren't they? Most of them.
Yeah.
Whereas this shop that I was in wasn't that big. But I used to have to go, staff announcement, can so-and-so come to the till? Do you know?
Yeah, it gives me anxiety thinking about it, because my voice is like really... It's too girly anyway, so imagine when I was younger, it's like high-pitched.
Hello.
And no one could hear me.
Can you imagine?
I used to go upstairs, and there was one, like, arsehole. She was trying to become supervisor, I think, so she was always up managers' arses. And she come up to me and was like, no one could hear you. And I was like, don't ask me to do it then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It used to drive me up the wall.
You should have done an ASMR one. Hello, staff announcement.
I don't know about ASMR then, to be honest.
Neither did I, actually.
No.
And then after that, I worked in WH Smith's. So I worked there. I actually joined as a Christmas temp, and then I got offered a permanent position. And to be honest, I don't know, the manager guy was pretty cool. I actually really enjoyed it, weirdly, because I don't really like books, I don't really read. But I liked doing it. I didn't really like being on the till much because it was really manic, but I quite like being on the shop floor. And then they were going to put me through to a supervisor position, like already after a few months. And I was like, yeah. And he said, because I could see you working on being a manager quite soon and stuff. And then at the same time, after so long, I got offered a job actually in my career that I trained in at college, which was beauty and holistic therapies.
Yeah.
Biggest mistake of my life was leaving WH Smith's to get this job in a salon.
Really?
Yeah, I wish I hadn't bothered.
Oh no.
She was an utter bitch.
It's a shame.
She told me to have an abortion with my son, and I was 16 weeks pregnant.
Wow.
And she was just a snotty cow. Worked my arse off, you know. In the end, when I was pregnant, I was shoved in one of the gyms, because it was like a chain, but it was like a private salon, and it was over where I used to live, the second place she opened. It's just me sat there for 8 hours a day. And then she'd moan at me because I had no clients in. And I went, I can't make people come and have a massage. They want one or they don't.
Yeah.
And it got really bad, and then she got to a point when she was kept reducing my hours, and you know, and then she never paid me on time. She never paid my maternity on time. I didn't think she was paying my tax, and then I actually found out she didn't pay my tax. So I've got masses of gaps in my national insurance because she never paid it. But they actually added it back on, so I'm guessing she got into trouble for that. So a bit of karma in it. And in the one day she put me down to an hour a week. Like, what's an hour a week going to do? It's going to take me longer to get there because I didn't live near there. In the end, I just quit. And I was stressing so much for such a long time about leaving, you know. I just felt so stressed about it, worrying about money and everything. And I tell you now, as soon as I quit, I felt so relieved. And I think there's so many people actually possibly watching. They must have gone, not necessarily identical, but in that situation when they're so worried about leaving, say, their job. Like I was, I can't explain how bad I was. I don't know why. Because I've been one of those that's never really stuck at a great deal.
Yeah.
I still didn't, I just felt like I couldn't quit. I was terrible, even though I knew the working environment was terrible. I was working and most of the time I didn't get my money and whatnot, but I felt like I couldn't. And she called me in there once. I took my son in, and basically it was like an interrogation on me, like me and everyone around the desk. And that's when I went home, and then I received an email stating about my hours. I just turned around to my husband and went, can't do it anymore. I'm done. Best thing I ever did.
I find that it's the workplaces that you hate the most that are hardest to leave.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, because I don't know what it is. You're just kind of scared to say I'm quitting because you know how horrible they are. So it puts you the fear in, even though in your mind you're just thinking, why do I even care? I'm just going to give them a fuck her. Do you know what I mean? But for some reason you just can't. Yeah, so a similar thing happened to me because I got another job after working at Tesco, and my friend actually got me the job. I started working in a care home with her because I needed a full-time job. I was living on a boat, and the Tesco wage just wasn't enough because it was only like part-time. I was doing four days, so I needed something full-time. So yeah, I went to care home, and it wasn't like the people we worked for, like obviously the people in the care home taking care from us. That was like not bad at all. Quite enjoyed that part, but it was the people that I worked with, the staff. It's so toxic. Like they're just, I've never worked in a place so, I don't know, just horrible. There's always an atmosphere.
Was he like elderly?
Elderly, yeah.
Certain things, or like dementia ward, or just
yeah, dementia. It was it was dementia. So yeah, it was just like I don't know. The staff was just, to say that them carers that didn't care about each other. It was and we were all working in the same thing. Do you know what I mean? But like like it was a good friend at the time. She just switched. Every time I was at work, she like wouldn't really talk to me, but then when we was outside of work, she'd be fine with me. And like she'd turn staff towards the end. She started turning staff against me. It was like really weird. I could just tell when. Anymore. No, not at all. I could just tell when they'd been talking, and I found out later that she was fully aware of how she treated me because her ex-boyfriend told me. Because like I'm still all right with him. When I see him, I'll say hello to him and we have a chat and that. And I ain't seen him for a while, like when we do. And he said like she used to tell me that she'd treat you like it. So she was fully aware that she did used to treat me like that.
Is that some kind of power thing, do you think?
I really don't know. I don't know. But yeah, she was just always a bit odd. Weird. And then it just got worse when I was working there. So yeah, then I moved like a department, so I was kind of away from that and just working on like the creative side of it, getting people to do like things so they're not just bored in the seats all day. It was like the I forgot the job title now, but yeah, I did that for a little while, and then I just thought like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I do want to do something else with my life. I want to try and get a better wage and just move on. So. But I just found it so difficult to hand my notice in.
Yeah. That's strange you said that, actually.
And she was, like, the manager wore that bad, but she was a little bit strict. She was a bit funny on some occasions. And, like, when I did hand my notice in, we always left early on a Friday because there wasn't much to do. Like, you'd leave an hour early. We've always done that. Because of the way the hours worked, we always got to leave on the Friday. And I said that I was going to leave, like, and she was like, well, I'll give you permission to do that. And I was like, oh, we always do. It's part of the contract. So it just made me feel even worse, and I was just like, you've made me feel awful for no reason. I'm leaving anyway.
To,
Do you know what I mean? You're lucky I've even come in this week. Yeah. So yeah, I completely get it. I understand. And to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if my friend had gone in to speak to the manager about me, and that's what's caused the
rift thing. Yeah, I mean, it's like it was very toxic at that salon, and very vindictive, manipulative, and you could tell that I was treated differently.
Yeah.
It was so blatantly obvious. Do you know what I mean? I just felt so awkward around there. But I want to ask you actually, so how was it working in a care home besides the shitty people?
I quite enjoyed it, to be fair. For the most part, yeah. They were helpless, so you've just got to try and help them, and do your best for them. So that part wasn't so bad. It was sad, when you obviously got close to people and then they passed away. You'd obviously speak to the families and then never speak to the families again after that as well. So there was that. But also, I'd find that some of the families would start resenting you a bit.
Oh, really?
When they found out that they was getting ill, some of the families would be a bit arsey with you because they'd think that it's your fault, you haven't looked after them, or if, I don't know, they'd sometimes feel like we weren't doing enough for them towards the end, which there are a lot you can do if they're in pain. The nurse can give them meds, but most of the time they're quite stubborn and don't want to be moved around, but families like them to be. But it's so towards the end sometimes it's either the family are good with you or they're not, because they can't accept what's going on, basically. A lot of the time
I think it's hard.
So yeah, I mean, it's a bit of both. Sometimes it was good and it was rewarding most of the time, but sometimes it would be sad.
I mean, I'm a bit bit sceptical, to be honest, about care homes after all the crap stories that you hear. And how shitty they treat people and stuff. So a part of me thinks,
I had witnessed a couple of things that probably shouldn't have been done. Not abuse, but probably not keeping the dignity neglectful. As much as they could have done. Yeah.
And I can understand that it must be so hard and frustrating. I mean, my husband's granddad had dementia. He had vascular dementia, so it's to do with the vascular nerve, to do with I think because of strokes or something like that. And it started many years ago. Starts with their forgetfulness and repeating and all that kind of stuff, and it escalated. I won't go into that because it's personal, but he went into a care home. By that point he was quite beyond, if you know what I mean. He got to he didn't really know who people were and whatnot. I visited, I think, once when I went inside. Oh my god, I hated it. Absolutely hated it. I don't know. I just couldn't. It was just weird. The way it was difficult for me. But I was always like, are you a dodgy one? Do you know what I mean? Keeping my eye out. And then it's sad for me because my granddad was put in a care home, and all this was happening during COVID, so I couldn't see him. He was in hospital for a while. I mean, he's a bloody idiot. I don't know why he did this. Bloody 91, whatever. Decides to go and shovel some fecking snow. Even my granddad was like that. My granddad was it was only the very last few days, year or so, when he started to deteriorate. And if COVID wasn't there, he would have lasted longer. He had nothing to live for. Nobody was around, and he just deteriorated. And I visited him once in there. Oh god, it broke me. Absolutely broke me. The way he was such a proud man, and the fact that he was there with a little sippy cup and a proper kind of nappy and that, just awful. And then the last time I saw him, he was just totally out of it. Basically, he just didn't know. It was literally days pending, and in the end, I was pleased that he wasn't suffering anymore. And the way I see it, I just believe that he went to be with Nan now, if you know what I mean. But to work in that place, it must be so draining though. like
It can be, because it's all day, like obviously all day care, everyday care. So it's hard work. Like there were 12-hour shifts, and by the time I'd finished, I was exhausted. And sometimes there'd be like 3 on. You'd do 3 12-hour shifts,
Yeah.
and you'd just be exhausted after that. Like I'd leave, and I could hardly speak to Nathan when he'd pick me up. I hardly spoke to him because I just wanted to sleep.
Yeah.
It was tiring.
I always find with care work and that, it's a lot of hard work, but you don't get the same respect as, say, people in the NHS and stuff like that. Which is a shame, really, because you're still caring and doing it's a hands-on job, isn't it?
Yeah. Constant.
But what I don't like about the care homes, actually, that half of them you go in look like shit. Like they're not. I always sit there and think, can't there just be bright colour walls and flowers painted and nice things like that? And my granddad was in one that wasn't like that at all. But
We used to do activities and stuff, and we'd put them on a board so they could see their own work and things like that. We did used to do that. So there was like a board that was full of colour, and they used to see it as they walked out and say, oh, I made that, to the other staff and like to their family and stuff. So we did do things like that. I can say that about that care home, to be fair. It was good like that. They did have
each are different, aren't they?
A lot of people.
A lot of them are different. So after I had actually, I'll go into this, after I left the salon, are you ready for this, Jode?
No.
I want your honest opinion. Can you imagine this? Right.
Oh God, what was you doing, Nick?
So I was one of these people that kept chasing something. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it was. I was just wanting to do something. I wanted to earn money. You know, I was looking after my kids. Oh, well, my son. And I somehow got into Ann Summers.
Oh, okay.
So I become an Ann Summers. I don't know what the name of me was, but I was one of those. So I used to do parties and all this stuff, and then we used to go to I loved it. I was so full of anxiety because back then I really was in the midst of like having socialised anxiety and generalised anxiety a lot. My anxiety, I couldn't kind of curb it no matter kind of what kind of thing. So it's very difficult for me, and if I was going to a party, I'd literally, my IBS would flare up, I'd panic, and sometimes, you know, luckily in the end I was managed to have a little bit of like diazepam and stuff to chill me out a little bit.
Yeah.
So stressful. But other times it was fine. I was giving out catalogues and whatnot, and then we used to attend like events, like see like new things, and then we'd be like getting awards and certificates, which I've still got them all, and with bars and stuff. And then I actually got promoted to a manager.
Nice. Yeah.
And so I started having my own team then, and I don't know what it was. I think one day, my mental health took a shitter again, and I think my anxiety was too much then, and I just couldn't do it anymore. It literally overtook.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I could have done better. I wasn't doing as well as other people, but I still did. I made a lot of achievements. Do you know what I mean? And all my certificates and stuff. I'm quite proud of everything that I did, to be honest. And I was good friends with my manager. We don't speak anymore. She couldn't deal with how I am as a person. You know, with my issues, people don't understand me, and she couldn't handle that. But that's what I did for a while. And sometimes I'll be like, do I do like book thing? You know, like your market pyramid things that you always get.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I try this? So the only thing that I did was that I liked was Ann Summers. And the once,
go on.
The once I held a party at my house. It was in the June, and my son was a few months old. My husband was still in. He was looking after my son. I had my mum round, some people. Oh my God, fucking blinded. No. I had a full bottle of vodka.
Oh, nice.
I mean, because I hadn't drank. Because I don't drink, right? The last time I properly drunk was when I was young. Like 18, 19 and that. I had people around and started drinking. I drank all this vodka. I was off my rocker. Like, seriously. My son was fine. He was upstairs with my husband. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, obviously, I was knackered and I was like, I'm off. I was just throwing up everywhere and God knows what all the stuff was going on in the bathroom. And my husband had to go and send everyone home. He was like, she's ill. Oh, it's horrific. But needless to say, I made a lot of sales.
Yeah.
Right, carry on. What was you going to say?
No, I was just going to talk about Ann Summers parties, because I actually went to an Ann Summers party myself. It was the first one I ever went to and the last. I went with my friend, and it's the first time I ever won anything, and I won a vibrator. I've never won anything. I've never won, like, raffles or anything I've ever done. Yeah, scratch cards, nothing. I've never won a single thing. But I won a vibrator, a bullet from Ann Summers party.
That's a good win.
Yeah.
I used to love doing the raffles, I did. Because you made so much extra money on the raffles.
Yeah.
But that was quite entertaining. And then I kind of went from doing nothing, because then my mental health was quite a shitter again. And then, like, the one day I started to go and look at a salon again, so I got a job in a salon. Must have been there about 6 weeks, and then I got the sack. Basically, the reason why I got the sack was because the woman was jealous. Now, I know that for a fact because the woman who employed me, she was actually the owner, and she ended up going to Seattle or something like that. And then the manager that was on, she kept being really snooty with me. I was doing a lot of in-house training and everything, and I kept having people ask for me. Then there was people asking for me that usually go to her. She started to get funny about it, and then I noticed she started talking to me, to other people in that. Then at one time there was a comment like, "That's my client," and I went, "Yeah, but they've asked me, so what do you want to do about it?" Turn around and say I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And it just got really awkward and uncomfortable. Then literally I went in one day, I went into her, fired me there and then on the spot. I was like, "Are you joking?"
Wow.
I said,
Really?
"You don't really have authority to do that. I know you're the manager, but what about the other woman?" "Oh, she'll just back me up." Like this. And I was talking to the other people, and they were just like, "Yeah, they just don't really like you." She said, "Do you know what she said to me? I don't think you fit in."
Wow. That's awful. Sorry, Nick. But at least you're not doing that anymore. And
then my last job, I worked in a restaurant, waitressing and bar work. Must have lasted 2 months, I think. Not even that. 3 weeks. I don't know. It didn't last very long, but I had about 3 meltdowns while I was there. And you get this, right? The reason why I quit, because one day I picked up my handbag and put my hand in the bag, and I found it was wet. This was when I was at home. Sorry, that's it. I got home and I put my handbag on the table, and I heard a clunk.
Yeah.
So what the hell? So I put my hand in there, and it was wet. And I pulled out. It was a bottle of water that had leaked in my bag, and then there was a glass in it, literally like a broken glass.
No way.
Somebody planted
someone put that in there.
So I spoke to the manager about it. She turned round to me and she goes, "None of my team would do that. You're imagining it." They knew I had mental health issues.
Yeah.
So they're manipulating. And I text people saying, "Look, who is it?" I said, "Okay, it's a joke." I find it quite it isn't really a funny joke, because I could have hurt myself and you soaked my stuff.
Yeah.
I said, "But okay, if it was a joke, just hold your hands up and I'll accept it." Nobody'd accept it. Nobody'd own up to it. And I said, "Well, I'm not a liar. Somebody's done it." And then I emailed HR going on about that and quitting immediate effect rather than walking my notice. And basically they would always take my tips, so I would used to get like £60 or £100 tip like a night, but it had to go into the pot and we had to split it. I ended up getting paid extra, just random money extra in my wage. Shut me up, innit?
Oh.
So I had loads of extra money. So
that's mad.
So have you done any other jobs?
Yeah, the next 2 jobs were call centres. I worked in one call centre. It was all right, but no one knew what they was doing. when you needed like advice from managers, even they know what they was doing, so you just kind of had to blag to customers. I don't know how they've still got a company, I've got to be completely honest, and it's a massive company, so I'm really confused at how they're still running, because literally no one knows what they're doing in that call centre. I think that one's closed now, but I still feel as a whole all the call centres would be the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I found ASMR actually, because it was stressing me out that much that I started listening to ASMR before I went into work just to chill me out, because I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
What did you do anyway? What did you search? Ways to relax or something?
Well, weirdly enough, so I was on YouTube and an advert come up and it gave me tingles, and because she was like in a soft-spoken voice, and I swear it was something about lime. It was an advert about lime. It was really weird, and I thought to myself, tingles, I've got tingles, and I hadn't experienced that in such a long time, and I was like, if I'm going to find that anywhere, I'm going to find it on YouTube. Someone has got to have whispered something on YouTube, so I googled like people whispering, and then GB come up, and I watched one where she's got like a little heart bottle closer, like cork.
Yeah.
It's to replace the cork in a bottle of wine, and she was tapping on that, and yeah, ever since then, that's when I started finding other people, found Friv, and
I love from knowing how people come about ASMR.
Yeah, Serena Katori as well. So yeah, I just found like loads of different people, and then obviously I started my channel, and that's when I found out more people on Twitter. So yeah,
awesome.
But yeah, I quit there because I couldn't do it anymore. But I had another job lined up, because I can't quit a job without something else lined up. I got the bottle for that. Like, you're quite confident in just quitting and then just being on the dole and whatever.
I didn't really have choice, did I?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, for some of them, yeah. But I can't. Like, I get too scared. I like to know that I've got something in place.
Well, actually, Jode, I couldn't go on the dole.
Oh, could you not?
No.
Sorry, I thought you said you hadn't worked, so I just presumed, to be honest, I'm sorry.
I was on the dole before I got my first job. Because it's the first thing I did, because I didn't have no money, I went on that and I used to sign on.
Okay, I understand.
But actually, when I quit my jobs and everything, I tried to apply, they said no, because I haven't paid enough national insurance. They wouldn't
bloody
pay me.
hell.
So I couldn't do that. So I was stuck with nothing. And I was like, that's how I found out I hadn't paid enough. The boss wasn't paying me, and they still refused to give it me.
Oh no! So yeah, that scares me a lot. So then I found another job in a call centre, and I really enjoyed that job, and I'd probably still be there now if online wasn't so busy, because like I just got to a point where I can't handle both, and I've got to pick or choose one. So I decided.
Was that where you were at when I met you? Yeah, because I remember you were working, then one day you were like, I think I'm going to give it up or something. Yeah.
So it took me a while to decide though, because I was like, I don't know, am I doing the right thing and whatever, but I was like, I do obviously prefer to be more creative, and it was just getting too much, I couldn't do both.
Yeah.
So yeah, I then decided to do ASMR, and that's where we are today.
That's like with me and my one job. I was working in that shitty salon, doing Ann Summers and doing mobile beauty at one point.
Oh, really?
And having an under 1 year old.
Oh,
never
gosh.
again.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But yeah, that's how we're here now. Our work
I've never had 2 jobs at once either, because I've either done like full time or obviously I had the AA and the internet, but I don't know, I don't really class that as 2 jobs, because it was more, at the time it was more just fun. I was just doing it when I did it, really. Now it's a job, because obviously it's what I do full time, but then it was just a bit of fun.
Yeah, I suppose it has to start, doesn't it? And then if it goes into your career, your job, you know.
Yeah.
Which I think we're quite fortunate, me and you, to actually be lucky and to be in that situation.
Because although it's been like a steady growth, it's been a good growth. Like I feel like it's it's
because you have some that just boom, don't they, rocket so
much.
But then I look at my growth and that, and it's been so steady, everything has, and I might be growing, say, slower, but it's definite a steady kind of process.
Yeah.
Whereas some, you'll see that they like boom, and then all of a sudden, and their chart, you're looking, it's probably going to be all over the shop.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Anything else to add?
Well, that's us. It's brought back some memories talking about all this.
It has, yeah. It's been good though, because I feel like we've both been able to relate a lot there. Like quite a few of the things have been similar for why we've like quit, or how we felt being like when you've quit. So yeah, I thought that
I've worked at service station for 1 week in Wimpy.
Oh really?
Literally a week. This was like years ago now. I can't remember exactly when. But I did a week and I thought, fuck this, can't be arsed. It was so hard work trying to keep up that and that. And these people are working like Mackies and stuff. You know, we moan because I'm like, fucking hell, hurry up, or it looks shit, or whatever. But actually, when I was there for that week, it was hard going.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you've got quite a lot to do, and like everything's so fast as well. So yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Out of everything you've said, which is the best job, not the current job?
Oh, out of the ones previous, probably the call centre that I left before becoming an ASMR artist for sure. Yeah. And how about you?
They've all got the pros and the cons, haven't they?
Yeah.
I'll probably say WH Smith's.
Yeah.
And other than that, I'd say I quite liked doing Ann Summers, but you know,
but
again,
the anxiety,
pros and cons, yeah. Cool.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that much about you, to be honest. I didn't know you had all those jobs, so that's quite interesting to know. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like with this podcast, we are learning about each other as well, because obviously we only know each other through ASMR. So, and we do a lot of talking, but never really
necessarily
chat
about
like this.
Life. Yeah.
So it's good. It's interesting.
And then it's a good thing as well, having our viewers to kind of get to know us a little bit, because we can share what we want to share, but what we're comfortable with still. But I think it's a good place to people find out about us that they're not going to know by just following us on social media.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I do find it quite interesting actually, and I hope you guys do as well. You know, getting to know all the bits and things. But I think it's quite interesting with me being one of these that started stuff and dropped out and stuff. Not because I've been just can't be arsed and want to be a dosser kind of thing. Literally with mental health blocking and not being able to withstand it, whether it's been meltdowns or be dip in mental health or whatever, and it makes me sit there and think, I wonder how many other people are actually in that situation.
I can imagine quite a few, especially people that now work on the internet. I feel like a lot of people have experienced what you have, because when I watch other people's podcasts, they'll always mention that they could never really settle into a job. So I do think it's more it happens more than you realise. And I don't think people, because like back in the day, like my nan and my mum and dad would have jobs and like stay in them forever kind of thing. And there was people I'd worked with in the call centres that had been there 30 years or so. You don't really get that now, because you ain't got the perks that they used to have. So you just think you're quite indisposable. You can just leave and then find something else.
There's a lot of people who you progress to get something better, don't you?
Yeah.
And I know certain people in the family, they will get all the jobs after so long because they want to progress. And sometimes the only way you're going to be able to do that is to move.
Yeah.
But then you've got the other side of it, the people say who were struggling kind of thing, or they're being bullied or harassed at work.
Yeah, that happens as well.
You know, if you don't get on for whatever reason, and then people who've struggled mentally and they're trying to like physically can't hold down a job, and some people are just like, yeah right, you're just lazy, whatever. But no, if you're in that mind of not in wanting to be here, put it politely, normal work for me is not practical, whereas doing this job, because I'm not constantly on, I can do it as and when, can't I? If I'm having a down day, I can take myself away from it. Even though it's full on and hands on, I could still back off. And to be honest, doing this job has been the first thing I've ever stuck at for the longest.
Same. This is the longest I've ever stuck at anything.
And I don't know about you, but it has made me completely different.
Yeah.
Like, I've grown as a person, confidence. Apart from the blip of last year, it's helped me mentally.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you know what though? I think like that helped the most, because I don't know many people that would go through what you did online and still be here.
You're gonna make me well off.
Honestly, I think it's incredible that you've carried on. I really do, because I think it gives other people confidence that, you know, it don't matter whatever someone says online, I can still be who I want to be online. So yeah, I think it's incredible.
It's getting me all emotional. Sorry.
I mean it though. I do. Honestly, I think it's incredible.
Thank you. It is,
and all that you go through as well, like all your own mental health, as well as them putting that on you. Yeah, I think you've done incredible.
It is hard, like with my mental health / you know, autism side of it, but then it's like my physical health as well, my physical issues. But that aside, you know, I can do. I just get on with that. But when it's like going through the stuff I went through like last year, that is just so. It's hard, like extremely hard.
No,
and to be honest,
because I bet it still pops up, doesn't it? When in your low moments, I can imagine that is the part that drags you down the most.
Yeah, and I have to keep sitting there saying to myself, no, that is not going to ruin it for me. You know.
Yeah.
And it's actually,
and I think you're doing exceptionally well, considering, honestly.
It's really actually since, especially going through my like sort of recovery, if you like, and bit of help with meds and everything, I feel like it's actually, now I've become stronger from it. So it's turned it into a positive now. The way I've got the mindset like I had before, but then some, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm more like...
And I can tell, like, I think we all can.
And I don't stand for like bullshit anymore. I just can't be fucking arsed, do you know what I mean? And it's just one of these things. And
I think that can scare some people, because they know that you are brave enough to come back. I think, honestly,
that's the problem. I think that's a big problem, actually. Some people don't like how I am, and I know that for a fact because one person has actually said that to me. If you remember, they actually said that the fact that they didn't like the fact that I'm brave and I'm honest about stuff, and I think a lot of that is what some people's problem are. They get a bit. They don't know how to react to it, but I'm one of those people that's just quite straight to the point.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes that doesn't get you into shit, but yeah, so I'm like, and I feel like it's really kind of, I've just made me a better person doing what I do, and I feel like I've succeeded at life for the first time like ever. Yeah. And actually, like, I've got people to actually be proud of me for once. I know it sounds really ridiculous, but
no, it's brilliant.
It's
lovely. It's good.
When you've been the one that's mentally crazy, when you've had the one that's never held down a job or education properly, the one who doesn't really have friends or this, that, and the other, you know, you've gone through abuse, bullying, God knows what. For then to have something like this, it's just really like important. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, good.
So
keep it up.
But that's a bit of mosh. Come on, Jode. Bloody hell.
That's brilliant. No, I love it.
Anyway, do you like my cup?
Nice to get deep. Yeah, I love it. Do you like mine?
Well, I can't say.
It's my merch.
Oh, I haven't got any merch, you know.
Have you not?
No.
I'm surprised because you've got your logo.
I did many moons ago. I just had like a cup, phone thing, and like a top. But I just got rid of it for some reason. I just didn't think it was very good. And then I haven't bothered since, because I don't really know where to use or what to use. And I don't know if anyone's going to be interested. I mean, if you are interested in merch, let me know down below and I can see what I could do. But
yeah, I mean, I don't sell much, but it's there if they want it. Do you know what I mean? It's just...
yeah. Awesome.
Lovely. Right, okay, I think that's it from us tonight then.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it's been entertaining.
Yeah, please leave us your comments about anything we've discussed today, and also let us know about what you thought of other people's experiences. If you've got any more that you'd like to add, please do.
Yes.
We love to hear them.
Definitely.
And
There's some things I want to follow on from. I want to know.
Yeah, for sure. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, please. And don't forget you can find us on all social media platforms.
Yes. Okay then, take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Midlanders Podcast. I'm Jodie Marie and this is Nic.
Oh, sorry. I spoke over you.
That's my fault. No, because I should have said, and this is, and then you carry on with Nic. I'm sorry. That was my fault. Right, again. Action.
Go on.
Hello.
Hi.
God, that was so hard to me. Wait, I've got to do that again.
Oh, God.
We can keep some of this in, it's fine. Right.